Cool. All right. What's up, everybody? Good morning to everyone watching. Lauren here. So any artists, collectors, and the curious that are here looking for Ricardo today, he's actually out. But if you're looking to do any drawing or art with us, we're here. So we've got Amber and Jason, Gabe here as well. Let us know if you guys are watching and where you're watching from in the chat. We'll be keeping our eyes on that. Then live shows like we have today, you guys can watch all of our Reinventing Network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, and more on our YouTube channel and website, as well as our Roku channel. If you haven't checked us out on Roku yet, you can find it by searching for Reinventing the Tattoo on your device for 24/7 streaming content. A lot of us have been putting it on in the background for ourselves or clients while they're tattooing. We have several weekly shows and drawing groups happening every day as well. If you're watching, you're welcome to tune in or join in the Zoom call with us. The Zoom link for today is easy to find. It's actually, if you go to reinventingthetattoo.com, scroll down to the calendar, the Zoom links are right there for each event. If you are here to watch, our YouTube channel is also set up for reminders for all of these upcoming events. Sundays, Jason's here. He leads the skill building Sundays. Monday mornings start early at 9 a.m. with Drawing for Tattooers led by James Wisdom. Right after that at 11, you can join myself, Gabe Ripley, and Jake Meeks of Fireside Tattoo Network to talk about what's going on in the world of tattooing. Later on at 5 is Robbie Rapole's Let's Talk About Feelings. Mondays at 9 is the Reinventing Evolution class led by Sandy and Andrew. Otherwise, you guys can follow the link in the description about all of these various learning opportunities that Gaia does offer. Tuesdays right here is Tuesday Feels with Ricardo Sturdivant. Wednesdays, we have our business roundtable and business courses by Tattoo Now at 1. And then also Thursday evenings at 6 is Tattoo Collecting 101. Other than that, let's say hi to Jason and Amber and get things kind of started for today. How's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
Sorry, I'm just
Fine and fair for a Tuesday morning. What you working on, Amber?
Actually, I just finished a painting. I think you saw that picture I took while I was camping over the weekend of the yellow leaves.
Sure did.
I decided to paint it.
Here, let me there we go. Love it.
Yeah, I've actually had a couple people already ask me about it, and I don't know that it's good enough for prints, but I might make some reproductions of it.
If they make you happy looking at it, for sure, it makes me happy. You know, that time's about to be long gone.
Yeah. I'll think about it. You know, I'm my worst critic. I'm proud of it, and yet I'm picking it apart as I'm looking at it going, I could have done that part better, and I could have done that part better.
But you know what? That's what all artists do, and you can't dwell on that.
I know.
A piece, learn from it. You pick up from the next one. You know,
as I was doing it, I was.
I was going to say, if you really get to the point where you just really absolutely do not like it, start over.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Right now, I love it, so I don't want to pick it apart too much.
Easy. You know, art's that easy. You can always start over. You can always do it again. No one says that you can't. You know, so why not?
Hey, I just want to check point. James said that the Zoom link or in the calendar isn't working. Jason, can you double check on that?
I actually discovered that myself, but just as I was going to message you, you sent me a link, so that one worked. I was like, she must have been reading my mind.
I do that all the time, just like a book. No, just kidding. James is here, so it looks like it all worked out, Jason. What's up, James? How you doing?
Hey, good morning, gang. I was having some hard time getting in, but Gabe told me to refresh.
Yeah.
I did that. It worked out.
Gabe is the tech guru.
Gabe is the internet.
What'd you say about the internet before, Jason?
Gabe is like the internet. He is everywhere and he is nowhere.
What's up, creature in the chat? Thanks for watching.
Oh,
Sorry guys, I'm just running a little behind today. I still haven't even made coffee yet. So
It's terrible. James, how was
yeah.
class this week?
Oh, it was fantastic.
yes, it
Jason
was.
was there, Amber was there, Ricardo was there, Spirit, my friend Elise. A lot of people were able to come, and so it was. It's always better, when we have participants, and it's always like it's just always a pleasure to get a chance to draw with others. So I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and so yeah, I hope everyone else is enjoying it as much as I am. So
What'd you guys talk about yesterday?
a lot of stuff,
Mhm.
but I think we talked about there was an artist that recently died, and so we talked about him and Kim Jong Ji, and then we were able to, I think, sort of like use that as inspiration for some of the other subjects that we started getting involved in. Um, thinking about the figure, thinking about perspective, um, thinking about line
Foreshortening.
quality. That was something else that sort of came up.
Mhm.
What is a line and those sorts of things. So uh,
Versus an edge.
Yeah, I'm actually that's one of those things. Line, priority, and like edges. Those are like some things I'm absolutely neurotic about. But it's
hmm,
also one of the things I find most people get drawn to in some of the most spectacular tattoos that you see, right? I
Hmm.
mean, you're going to look for that line as an added element to draw your eye in a direction. It's going to help make the most bold and obvious parts stand out above everything else. And if you have varied line weight in there in combination with, areas without any line, it immediately calls your eye to wherever that big line is, right? But then you ask yourself, well, okay, but what if every line is a huge line? As my cat starts trying to jump onto the countertop in the background. Um, but what if every line is a huge line, right? What's that going to do? It's going to flatten your form. It's going to take away from the dimension. So you have to go through and if you're going to have line in a tattoo, vary it. Mix it up with some hard edges instead of lines. Mix it up with areas of very vague tonal value. That's going to help push certain parts back and blur things out. It was a good class. I liked it.
priority, right?
I do that in my watercolor tattoos. I don't add lines to the color until I've rendered the color. And then I'll go in and add my sharp edges where they need to be and leave the soft edges where they need to be to make it look like the soft or hard edges of the paint puddle. Because if you just line it and then with the color and then fill it in with color, it doesn't look like paint. It just looks like you packed color in and you did a good job packing color in, but it's just a blob of color. You've got to add those hard and soft edges in the different spots at the end to be able to render the splash of color to look like ink or paint.
Hmm.
So there's a watercolor tip for anybody out there watching that doesn't do watercolor.
See, I always try to vary my color saturation. Obviously, I'm going to go through and stick with, certain tones over other tones, but I always try to focus more on saturation and areas of solid saturation versus areas of diffuse saturation, right? Areas where things aren't very saturated. Maybe it's a quick whip shade. Maybe it's an area where my circles are just a bit looser and lighter. Still
Mm,
sticking within my form, but I've always found that when you work with saturation on top of hard edging and adding in lines where there need to be lines, but it's about it. But when you really use saturation as an added trick for dimension,
yeah.
yeah, it really does. It really does amazing things. That's
Well,
just
yeah, you have to saturate it no matter what. It's just the trick of making it look like it's translucent or transparent, not saturated. And sometimes
well.
those
I've
hard
actually,
edges in
I was gonna
certain
say,
spots and soft edges in others helps.
right. What I was actually talking about was actually not making everything super saturated, right? I like to go through and vary areas that are really, really packed, really dense, really, really saturated with color. And then by leaving certain areas that are not saturated, that maybe it's just a quick whip shade out with a color, or maybe it's just a very light feathering out of a color to keep that area less saturated than other areas. I like to use that as an added technique and as an added trick. Just kind of helps thin things out so that you can really focus on the areas where the color is the most opaque.
See, I agree that it looks the best on a fresh tattoo. And I think I'm compensating for the fact that most people don't take care of delicate tattoos like that.
Oh, see, I'm neurotic about it, and I charge
Yeah,
them for touch-ups. So it's like, hey, not my fault. You didn't take care of it. Sit down, we'll touch it up, but it's going to cost you.
So I think the way that I would like sort of kind of join these ideas together is through the idea of intensity.
Mm,
And so, like, when we talk about color, there's always this intensity, like is a factor.
yeah,
Temperature is a factor, and intensity would be a factor. And so, if you're leaving, if it's if if it is not as saturated, you're allowing more of the skin to show through, you're allowing more of the paper to show through, you're changing the intensity of the color. And so I suppose that, if you're, so whatever you're doing, that would be what you're going for. And that's how you can achieve those different effects that, we've been talking about, as well as like, you know, adding emphasis, right? Adding the priority. You have more of an intensity and more of a of an emphasis with lines and all of the other sort of elements that you bring together. You are able to prioritize various portions, and then of course, like Jason, to your point, you're letting some of the skin show through. You're kind of allowing the color to be less intense in those areas, and it can be more subtle. It can be more sort of you know less emphasized or less priority given. And so I think that it's probably a really good technique to
it is.
especially like if you want to add on to it later. I've certainly had like artists like that I really admire have done work on me, and they kind of left some areas like a little bit, you know they're a little looser at the edges, and it's like we're gonna work into that later. You know what I mean? We'll like put something on top of it, or we'll weave something together. And sure enough, it's really worked out well. And so it's like I think we sometimes can get into this mindset of having this, like you said, everything with the same line because we want to we're like too focused on, I don't know, like uh, we're too close to it, right? We haven't taken a step
Yeah,
back. We haven't appreciated it for as a whole, as an entirety unto itself. We're too focused, hyper focused on little things, noodling and stuff. So anyway, I really appreciate what you both are saying. I think it makes a lot of sense to me. that's just the way I think of it, just in terms of like intensity, temperature, and how we can, like and how that leads to prioritization, whether
Yeah,
that be, like something that's really close to us or really far away, or it's wherever you like, you want to put the viewer at. You really want to make them focus on this particular thing.
I think my
I have to
mind's just
completely
fried
agree.
from this weekend. So
What's
I,
that?
I
I said I think my mind is kind of fried from this weekend.
What
yeah,
happened?
I think we're all that way.
I'm running off of like 12 hours of sleep in the past 3 days.
All right, but you're getting ready for convention, right?
Oh yeah.
Amber, you've been making art like nonstop, right? You've been
Yeah,
painting,
that and
tattooing and
Amber's a
stuff.
flipping.
machine. Yeah, this
Posted up some
Lauren and
stuff
I
for the
will be at
convention.
the
I'll share with you
Resurrection
guys.
Island show.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah, they're getting set up, so I thought I would share it because there'll be
Nice.
some stuff that we'll be sharing this weekend. Looks like a lot of fun to do with a group, but that's a lot.
I love conventions.
That'll be cool. 2 days away. Yep.
Looks like so much fun.
We could have James there. We could project James's face. Imagine this. Imagine having some of those like steam blowers coming off, right? And we'll
Oh,
just project James's face onto that like he's the Wizard of Oz.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yo, we can make this happen. And then he can
Yeah.
just teach class Monday mornings, like as that like stream of steam. That would be epic.
Yes, it would.
We need to make that happen.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, right?
Just well, that would be terrifying, I'm sure. But I was just gonna ask you, like, you're so exhausted, but I know I'm like 1,000% sure you're gonna get there. You're gonna be totally jazzed and amped.
Over prepared, man. I've been so wired. I love conventions. I love them. That is my happy place. When I die, I'm going to a convention in the sky. Okay, like no lie. They are everything to me. I fell in love with them years and years and years ago. I try to go to as many as I can, everywhere I can get to. They are, it's my happy place, right? When I'm zoning out while getting my ribs hammered on for hours and hours at a time, mentally, I'm going to a tattoo convention in my mind. Like that's where I go.
The great tattoo
That's what I
convention
love.
in the sky. Is that
Yeah, pretty much.
Good one, James.
Like
No,
I want to be buried with a couple of machines, like an admission ticket and a lanyard, like the whole nine. Like that's my happy place, man. So yeah, I get amped. Absolutely. Like I don't need sleep. I'm just my excitement is through the roof right now and I cannot wait. But I get like this before every show I work in. Every single one of them. Philly I have down to like a pattern, right? I've got that down pat. I've been
Yeah.
working that show for so many years. I know what to expect. I know to get there on Thursday for load in, to go in and at least drop my stuff off at the booth. Because I know the line around the building is going to be absolutely insane on Friday. I know this. And I know this from experience, from having to stand outside in the rain for 3 hours while waiting to get into the building just to get set up. Yeah, which is terrible. Because by the time you get through the doors, you just feel like a wet cat.
Yeah.
And you're looking at everyone and you're like, just don't even look at me. I will kill you right And it's Philly, so people think it might actually happen, and then they're like, "Oh wait, it's Jason. He's harmless anyway." So it's like a little contradiction. They're like, "Oh, he must be wet. Do you need a towel?" Um,
I remember in 2016, it wasn't raining, but it was so cold in the city.
yeah, and
It
seeing
was
everyone outside
bitter.
freezing their, oh man, they were
My daughter and I
freezing.
froze our asses off. And I'm like, I'm not getting out of line. I'm not getting out of line. I'm just not.
Yeah,
And
on that's why
Tessa
I
was like,
always
we're
do
not
early
going
setup.
home. We're not going home. I'm like, just huddle together. We'll be warm enough until we get there.
Yeah,
And then it
yeah.
was worth it. It was totally worth it. It's always worth it, but it was totally worth the cold.
For people out there that are watching that might not know what the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention is like, there's usually a line 3 or 4 people wide and probably 2 or 3 city blocks long,
Yeah.
waiting to get into the show on Saturday. It draws an absolutely massive crowd. I think the last quote that I heard was something like 30 or 40,000 people that come there over the weekend,
Hmm.
um, which over 3 days is quite a few people.
Yeah.
Um, so there, people are literally forced to wait because of the convention center politics and rules and security and all that stuff. They're forced to wait outside in whatever the weather is until the doors to the show actually open, whenever the guards decide that that is, right? Um, could be on time, could not be on time, who knows? But everyone's forced to wait outside while waiting for admission to get in. Even if you bought advance tickets, you can't get in before doors open. It's one of their security things. I don't know why. Unless you're an artist and you're there to set up.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And that's why I'm a huge advocate of getting there as early as you can. It's better to be early and wait than it is to be late.
Oh, yeah. We take the train up from here crazy early.
Hold on, Jason, I got a good one, but if you are late, be worth the wait.
Yes. That's the other
Learn
part
that.
to that saying.
Yeah, that was the first thing I ever learned about a tattoo shop. Was the first one that I was in. It was 2007, and that was the motto. That was it. That was the mission of the shop. Always late, but worth the wait.
Yeah. See, I'm neurotic. I used to be late for everything in my life, and then I was like, you know what? If I'm always early for everything, I won't ever be late for anything. Yeah. Yeah. It was like uh, it was a foreign concept to me. I was like, why would I want to be early? Shouldn't I just be on time?
I used to be late for everything. And then I spent 10 years with a man who could not be on time. And it forced me to have to be early with everything. And now I'm early for everything. But it took that to break me of the being late all the time thing because it annoyed me so bad. I was like, I can't do something that annoys me. If I'm going to get on my own nerves, it's behavior I got to stop doing.
So it's something I apply to tattooing as well. I show up an hour early to the studio every single day, without fail. Like, not just because I only live 3 minutes away from it, but I do that out of my own accord anyway. I get there early. I clean if I need to clean. Um, get everything set up and ready for whatever appointment I have. Get my stencils run in advance. Go up front, grab the paperwork, grab the deposit. Get everything set up, everything ready to go. Get my Netflix queued up on my little client iPad. Get the
Mm,
headphones turned on and synced on. Get my color palette set out for the day if I'm working with color. Get all my needle configurations out. Set up all of my machines. I don't have to worry about anything like, oh, well, I need these markers and because I'm just going to draw this on. Everything is drawn up in advance, even to my own detriment. When that person shows up, we head straight over to my area. They sit down and we get started on the tattoo. Within 30 minutes of them arriving, we are tattooing.
yeah.
You know, and I think it's something that a lot of people out there, especially some more well-known artists and things like that, like if you draw your stuff on and it's all freehand and that is all you do, great, that's fine. Um, if that's the way you prefer to operate, that's awesome. But I can guarantee you it's going to take me less time to slap a stencil on someone than it is for you to draw something on someone.
Yeah.
That's maximizing my time. And that's maximizing my money because those little bits of time can add up and you can squeeze in another small tattoo at the end of the night.
Yeah. I prefer to have my stencils ready and ready
For
to go.
big pieces, for things like sleeves and back pieces, I print them out the night before. Take them
Mm-hmm.
all together, get them all set up, set ready to go. I still show up an hour early. I don't have to run a stencil. It's already together.
Yeah.
They've already come in. We've already sized it. I've already held it up to them. I already know exactly how it's going to wrap, where my stress relief cuts are going to be. I know exactly where it's going to be placed, where the wrist is, where the elbow is, where the shoulder is. That all comes down to the planning stage, but it's very easy. But I found that being on time and being that prepared for everything just increases efficiency, right?
Yeah.
When you increase your efficiency, you're increasing your potential income, you're increasing all of these other things. Now, the downside is that if someone no call no shows, someone calls out last minute, if someone isn't crazy with the design for whatever reason, even though they would have had to have approved it in advance, it's like, okay, it's not changing the amount of money you're spending today. You know, you're still spending the same amount of money.
Yeah.
It's just now you're making me jump through all these extra hoops. If
Mm-hmm.
they don't show up, it's like, cool, deposit's mine. If I have to move
Oh,
it,
yeah.
that's fine. But then I know that they're not coming in, so I don't have to get there and prep and break everything out, get everything set up and wrapped up just to break it down again if they don't, show up. So it's always interesting. But I've always found, yeah, I'm always early. I cannot stand being late to things, especially with a job that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how artists can be late. We have the best job in the world. Okay, so here's why tattooing is the best job in the world. Not that any of you need convincing, but explanation is necessary. We get to listen to whatever we want to listen to music wise. We can put on whatever movies in the background we want to put on. Showering is optional, recommended, but optional. Okay. We get to make fun of people, we get to hurt them, and we get paid really well to do it. Tell me another job that allows you all of those things.
It's very unique.
I got nothing.
Yeah, it's very
I
unique.
got nothing. So
Somebody just
that's why
joined. Somebody joined the group. Wit.
I wit. Wit's I think trying to figure out Zoom. If you can hear us, unmute yourself. There you go. Hey, Wit.
There we are. Hey, Jason.
How's it going, Wes?
Yeah, I'm having some issues. Hi, how are you guys?
Doing pretty good.
Good. Can you hear me?
We can. Coming through
Yes.
loud and clear.
Good. Good deal.
Awesome.
Perfect. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty well. Doing pretty
Awesome.
What
Fantastically
are we
well.
talking about? Are we talking about the big convention?
well. Which one? There's several going on this coming weekend.
Resurrection?
Mm-hmm. Can't wait. I love it. I love
Look
it.
at the smile on his face.
Yeah, I'm a
I
huge
love him too,
convention
dude. I'm always so
nerd.
excited.
I used to keep all the lanyards I would get until I just had too many of them. Because you're like, oh yeah, and I was at this show, 20 years ago, and here I am at this one 15 years ago, and here's all the ones I worked at this year, and it's like, why do I need all of those?
Yeah, dude, but you're supposed to
I'll
keep
keep
all
like
your shit, man. That's what it's about.
I keep one from like every new show I work at, right? So like the first year I work at
Yeah.
it, I'll keep that lanyard. All the rest of them I don't need them. You know, I there's usually like if you work at shows like the Puerto Rico show, you'll walk away with like a shot glass, a coffee mug, one of those like nylon drawstring backpacks. You'll walk away
Like
with,
good
I
to
can
Cedar
almost
Point.
guarantee you're going to get a hoodie. Like they give you so much free stuff that it's like you really don't need a lanyard. It's like, no, it's cool. I'm an artist. See, I got the shot glass right here. Used it last night, right? So you get all of these souvenirs from all of these things for free without ever asking for them. Being an artist that works at these shows, I've got shot glasses from the Dublin, Ireland show. I've
Well,
got
that makes
a
sense.
coffee mug from Needle Jig from that was given to me, I think, out in Gettysburg. Um, I've got like all Waverly coffee mug. Actually, I think I got that one in an order when I ordered from Waverly. But I've got like all of these like coffee mugs and shot glasses and all that stuff from working at all these shows. I don't need the lanyard. I've got plenty of things that rep that show to begin with, you know? Um, so like I started not keeping some of them. So if anyone wants mine from after the show, actually, this is the first year I'm working at it, so I will keep this one. But next year when I work this show again, let me know and I'll give you my lanyard. Because after the first year, I really don't bother to keep them. So,
And you can keep them and reproduce them years later and sell them things vintage. I mean,
yeah, people can just have them. You know, I've got some from like Philly Show 2010, and like
mm,
2011, um, you know, that like have literally done nothing for me since I got them.
I've got one from every show
Nothing.
I've ever been to, too.
Yeah,
I'd be
you
turning
know.
them into curtains in my
Now I
house.
will.
You know what I
Now
mean?
I will say what I am a fan of collecting while I'm at every show is business cards because I'm a huge nerd. So like I like to go
Yep.
through and I'll do business card trades with people sometimes, like their trading cards. Like I'll take my Philip Liu and I'll raise you a Guy Aitchison. Ah, what you got for that? Yeah, I'm a huge like tattoo nerd like that. I've
Oh,
only been obsessed with it for
stickers.
20 some odd years. Oh, I got stickers galore.
My favorite thing about convention is stickers because I always need more decor.
See, I like stickers and I've got a ton of them, but I never take the backs off. I'll like throw like mounting putty or like double stick tape on the back of them, but I won't actually like
Mhm.
peel the sticker because I'm afraid if I peel it and I don't like where it is or something happens, that sticker's ruined. And I don't want to be that guy that goes around and double dips and takes two stickers and is greedy,
Yeah.
you know? So like I'm only gonna take one,
Double
right? But
dips.
I don't want that is my only one of those stickers. Nothing can happen to this sticker. Because like, what if I have to throw it out?
I feel this is
I
becoming like
I,
an episode of Friends about the sticker. Double
I
dipping.
like stickers.
I use my stickers to.
Well, you
I'm all about it. I get it too. I hate to take the backs off the ones I like. I have to really think about that rather not. I really want to use it if it's worth that.
I always
well I
find a prominent place to put my favorites.
Hmm.
Like I have this mirror that's, in my shop that I know for a fact is never getting thrown out. And it is my shop mirror. So my favorites go around the frame of that.
see all of the stickers I have are my favorites though. Like if I'm not absolutely in love with the sticker, I'm not gonna grab it because I know how much they cost to make. So
Yeah.
like, but like if I go through and I'm like, yo, can I get a sticker? Like, is that I number one, I always ask. Oh, if you're attending a show, always ask about stickers.
Oh, yeah.
Never just assume that they're free because I've been caught a couple of times where it's like, oh shit, like these are $1 a piece. Dude, here's 5, man. I'm sorry, dude. You know, like,
Mhm.
because sometimes people don't have signs up or anything like that. So always ask. Plus, it gives you an intro to that artist and like you develop friendships that way. So like always ask if you can have a sticker first, but don't be that person that just walks around and is like, oh, cool, free stickers. Let me go grab like a handful of them.
Oh, I
It's
know.
like,
I
yo,
hate that.
You know, like there's
no one's
that
gonna
classic
throw
look when
us.
you walk up to the table and like everybody's working back there, and then they look at you and you look at them, you look at the stickers, you look at them and you look at you, look at the stickers. It's like really not
It's
free.
like,
It's kind of like look
cool,
away at me and
yeah.
take them. It's like a
I can
whole
I can
unsaid
grab
thing.
one. Or what I do is I take my stickers around and I ask the artist, and they'll say, hey, I'm doing a sticker trade with people. I'll give you one of mine, you give me one of yours. Like, is that cool? And then that way
Mhm.
everyone benefits. You know, it's a good way to do it as far as, or like print trades. Now, sometimes people invest a lot of money into their prints and they make really, really nice ones. So they're not really willing to trade, right? Sometimes people are there just to sell them, make the money, etc. But sometimes going around and taking your prints around and doing trades with people can nab you some absolutely awesome artwork. So these are all like little convention hacks, you know,
Mm.
ways to like get your name out there, build your reputation, and come away with some free stuff. So, well, not free because there's a cost somewhere along the line, but nothing
Convention
free.
hacks, that could be like a whole nother show, a whole nother segment.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that would be a multi-part show,
Yes.
like
Every
convention
week,
hack
a new
101.
convention hack.
How to pack light for international trips.
Renee Little
It's
says she
easy.
specializes in that.
Yeah. Renee is one of my favorites. And she's got some great little hacks too. I'd love to get Mike Chambers on here too and talk about his convention travel stuff.
Mm.
Because he's got some amazing tips and tricks as well. But here's my thing, right? Many years ago, they used to make this ultra tiny, ultra mega portable massage table, right?
Yeah.
It was, I think, 16 inches wide, barely wide enough
Yeah,
for a
dude.
human being, right?
Mm.
16 inches wide, and I think it was like a total of 24 inches folded up, right? I mean, this thing
It's for
was like
gnomes.
miniature.
It's a gnome
It
table.
looks, yeah, it looks like a folding bench, right? But it had telescoping like aluminum legs. It had a leg extension for the back so you could get more length out of it. Had a little attachable like face rest to pop in. But the thing weighed, I think, a total of like 6 pounds, which is unheard of for a massage table. I think it weighed a total of like 6 pounds, and you could fit it in a carry-on suitcase.
Wow.
Nice.
Damn.
And they stopped making them.
Why would they
Why?
stop?
You know that the portable ones are like, I can't say 10 times more expensive, but they're way more expensive than the larger, thicker ones because of the whole convenience and the mobility of them. Like I was looking for a new one probably about, I don't know, a year ago, and I guess I never really realized the level of how much more expensive they are. They're like $150 to $200 more expensive. They're easily
Oh, easy.
$450, $500 for a new. Yeah, like I was
Oh,
shocked,
and
but I
that's on the
prefer the
low
wooden
end.
leg.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
prefer the wooden framed ones as opposed to the metal ones. I just feel like, you know, at least the wood ones you can fix. The metal ones, it's more of a pain in the ass to do so. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I think they're
The
more comfortable
ultra.
too. They have more give like machines
See,
for larger people. In all
I like the
honesty,
aluminum ones because the aluminum ones usually ratchet a little bit smoother and they're a little bit lighter. So
yeah,
if you're
they
putting
do.
it on a plane, cool, it's not quite as dense. Um, but like that ultra portable massage table that I was talking about, my friend that bought one from Lucky's Tattoo Supply about 15 years ago, and he bought it for $800 for a
Damn,
massage table.
wow, that long ago.
$800. But he can throw that thing in a backpack and take it with him wherever he wants.
That's
Mm.
And
crazy.
this dude is all about minimalist traveling. So like he'll show up at a convention with a backpack and an armrest. But
And a
in that
hammock.
backpack, he's got full, yeah, he's got like a hammock, a massage
He said my
table,
hammock bed.
right? He's
Uh,
got like a tiny bar of soap in there, and like he'll go and wash his face in the bathroom. No, I'm joking. But he has everything he needs for that show in that backpack. It's not that big. Everything he needs is in there. And
I mean, in all
really
honesty, all of us could probably do that, like if we just had what we needed. I mean, but like, who wants to do that? I'm sure we all can do it, but who wants to?
yeah, exactly.
You want
Well,
we want everything at our convenience at an arm reach away. So
I want my shop there.
see, I don't want like everything, but I want to have enough stuff that I can share with people if they need it. You
yeah,
know, I want to make sure I've got enough supplies that like if someone comes up and is like, "Yo, do you have a 15 mag I could grab off of you?" Yeah, sure, here,
right.
take it. And I still have enough to
I
get
mean,
the show
I've been
together.
to many shows to where like artists they've lost their luggage or whatnot. And then I just seen
Yeah,
not too long ago on social media to where like forgive me, I can't remember what shop it was, but they had lost their luggage before getting to a show, but then someone broke in and ransacked their shop. You guys remember this? Did you see this? Somebody scoped them out or something like that, getting on or coming off a plane and whatnot. Realized they were tattoo artists and such, and somehow rigged something with them in order to steal their luggage or whatnot. And then they got keys to their shop or something. You guys seen this? It was
no, I
people
didn't hear about
donating
Wow.
any of
money
that.
and supplies and whatnot. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look. It's been like almost 2 months ago, but excuse me, they got keys or information that led them to know that these people
Right.
were tattoo artists and such. And while they were gone, I think I gotta get that straight. While they were gone at the show, they broke in. The person broke in their shop while they were gone. Like
That's so
it
insane.
is. I seen it on Instagram if I'm not mistaken, but a lot of artists in the community and stuff like that reaching out and giving them, machines and anything and everything they possibly could. But I've been to
Well,
many
that's
shows
worked
where
out.
artists, yeah. I mean, people get their shit lost and everybody's giving to each other. Like, I always like to have something that somebody else don't have and be able to show them, hey, use it for this, use it for that, and turn somebody else on to something. That's always cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My friend McCall a few years ago, all of his equipment got held up in customs. Everything except for his
Oh,
machines. He was coming out from Scotland, from Europe, to work at the Puerto Rico show.
Hmm.
And he mailed all of his supplies as opposed to like bringing it as like a checked bag because it was cheaper, right? Great idea. But if it gets held up in customs, you have to wait for it to get released from customs before you have access to it, right? He didn't factor that in. So he's sitting there during the entire show borrowing stuff off of people because his stuff still didn't get out of customs. So it's like, what do I do? Right? I booked this booth. I've got all these supplies that I can't touch. Got to find a way to do it. So we found a way to do it. And he went through and like people were donating stuff to him left and right because he didn't have access to anything. And to this day, he's like, dude, I can't thank you enough for helping me out in Puerto Rico. Like, if you ever want to come up and do a guest spot, if you ever want to like come up and visit or hang out or whatever, like you can come and stay as long as you want. Um, so like I'm actually planning it out with him now. I think I might head up there in like late spring to his area of Scotland and go up there and spend like a couple of weeks up there. So I may be doing broadcasts from Scotland come the
That
That'd be
would be
spring.
cool.
awesome. Scotland is gorgeous.
Yeah. That's what everyone keeps saying, and it's like I really want to make it out there. I do.
Yeah, right.
And I've got somewhere to stay, so that's awesome. So yeah. May start doing more international broadcasting. We're taking this global. Yeah.
Going worldwide, man.
Worldwide.
Lauren worldwide.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where is Lauren worldwide? She's in the background, I know that. But she is everywhere. She's
Collaborator.
global.
Uh-huh.
Dude,
Global sensation.
she's in everything. She does everything. I don't even know how she finds the
She
time. I
does.
don't think she sleeps.
She's a global
Like,
powerhouse.
oh yeah.
She is a dynamo, an absolute dynamo. Like, Lauren, if you're still watching in the background, I applaud your efforts and everything you do.
You know, me too. Ditto on that.
Absolutely.
You know, it's rare
You're
to for someone in this industry that's not an artist to like love and respect it so much to work as hard as Lauren does in everything she's in. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like
cool.
Lauren and
Way
Gabe
cool.
are both very,
Oh yeah,
very
Gabe, yeah.
dedicated, like hardcore to this industry, and it's like, and they're not artists. So
Yeah, I recently caught a show with Gabe in it. He was talking about how long he's been around the industry and showing pics from 20 some years ago, and I didn't know that about Gabe, and like total whole new respect for Gabe. Like I had no idea. Like I know he was
yeah,
pretty badass in how involved he was with the industry and everything that he's done with computers and such to innovate the way that we advertise and everything. But I had no idea that he's been around the industry that long. No idea.
oh yeah, he
I was
was out
shocked.
meeting Tintin and Philippe Lou,
Yeah,
when I was still trying to figure out, who I was in high school,
yeah.
and he's out meeting these legends in the industry, and it's
He's
like,
got badass, huge pieces on him. Like, oh man, they're some
yeah,
of the best artists in the world. Like, yeah, I had no idea. I was pleasantly surprised. That was pretty cool.
yeah, but it's not that often that you see someone that's not actively involved in the industry that is so dedicated to such an industry, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever worked in a shop to where the owners they weren't artists themselves?
One,
Jason, have you?
and I will never do it
One?
again. Yes, I have. I did for
Ditto.
for one time, and I will never ever do it again.
How'd that work out?
Well, obviously, I'm not still there, so.
Right.
My second
Um,
apprenticeship, the owners weren't tattoo artists. They just hired tattoo artists.
it's when you get into situations like that where you have someone that is not part of the industry in any respect, or have any kind of expectations about the industry, right? People that are in it strictly for the money and to run a business, that don't understand what's involved in being an artist or being a tattoo artist, understanding the variables, and that, you know what, sometimes things take longer than you anticipate,
Lots of
longer than you
variables, yes.
estimate.
I have a question I'd like to
Yeah.
pose to the group here. Was recently watching a business roundtable with Gabe and Jesse Smith, and so Jesse Smith's shop, all the artists are employees,
Hmm.
and he does medical and dental. It's a he talked about the sort of there was a struggle to overcome this barrier. Um, so I'm a tattoo. I'm an independent contractor. I've never tattooed as an employee for somebody. I've always been, when tattooing is concerned, it's always independent contractor. That's the identity, or that's the designation. But I have been an employee of people before, and like as far as getting health insurance and getting your taxes taken out, um, it is. It is just there's a world of difference to it. And I was just curious, what do you all think about that? Like, as a, you know, um, what do you think about that? Like, would you want a tattoo for somebody? We're talking about and maybe it's like the owner would need to be more of an owner. Like Jesse Smith tattoos, is amazing. But I'm just saying, to be able to run a business, you know what I
There's
mean?
many
And
hats there, yes.
have employees and stuff, you know what I mean? You have to, if you're a business minded person, like,
Yeah.
would I tattoo for Gabe? Of course, whatever. Like, I'm just wondering, like, where are you all at with it spiritually? Like, would you be willing to subject yourself to, to be an employee rather than this independent contractor, you know, designation? What do y'all think?
I'm an
Jason?
employee.
Yeah.
I get a paycheck.
You're in? You would do it?
I get W-2'd. It all ends up coming down to what level of effort the owner wants to put in. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Nothing says you can't still be Schedule C on top of being an employee. There's no regulation
Correct.
against that. That's what I am. I have my studio income. That's what I make at the studio. I get a paycheck for that. Everything I do at a show, everything I do at a convention, all of the print sales I do, all of the print manufacturing I do, and all that stuff. That's all Schedule C.
Yeah.
So you can have both.
Yep.
Right? One's
Yep.
great because you have your taxes withheld and you get a tax refund at the end of the year. Awesome. The other one's kind of the other one balances out that, so I don't usually see too much money as a refund because they're like, well, you owe this much from this, but we're going to give you this much back. So,
A tax refund is actually bullshit. Because tax refund is just it's like
They're
the
never
government
gonna
holds your
Bullshit.
money. They don't give you any fucking interest on your money. So a tax refund is bullshit. Having a professional, like, sort of, an accountant, handles the numbers, like, do you right. And so you don't owe anything and you're not owed much or any. I think that's a better way to go. I hate a tax refund.
right.
Fuck a tax refund. It's like, oh, great. Thanks for giving me my own money back.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
See, I don't,
Thank you for giving me
I
my
don't
own
mind
money, and now it's worth less. Now it's actually
Right.
worth less. So,
Mm.
So I never
Yes, it
really
is.
minded it because I don't have to pay money out every quarter. I don't
Mhm.
have to pay money out every 6 months for taxes that I owe.
yeah,
That's all done for me. And that's
I,
one less
I,
thing I have to worry about and
it
think about.
is. I'm just, I think it's a really complicated deal. Like, uh, and I think, again, some people have it really figured out. Some people really have got, like, a good system down. But especially for, especially for people starting out, especially for, I mean, not everybody has it, so the game's so clocked. Uh, they're coming, they're coming for that audit. They're going to come for your taxes. It doesn't matter if you don't make too much. You know what I mean? They're coming for you. And I think, there very well might be
It's
coming.
just to break your
Hey,
balls for the most part.
what's that? Watch your
I said
balls?
it's just for them to break your balls.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's gotten so bad since COVID. It's ridiculous. Like I mean I can't say I don't mind. But I don't mind paying taxes. As in, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. What I don't like is the changing of the rules. This is okay for this, and that's not okay for that. And I don't like it. Why can't it just be easier, cut and dry? And why are we paying a third party business taxes anyway? The IRS is a third party business. I don't understand. Like,
Render unto
it's a
Caesar.
third party business. I mean, it's not even it's not even a leg of the government. Like, why are we paying a third party business money? I never did understand that.
Yeah.
I just I don't mind paying what I'm supposed to pay for what I'm supposed to pay it for, but can somebody pick out the right person for me to pay it to, please? Because I don't like paying people I'm not supposed to be paying. That has nothing to do with my shit. Like,
It's,
don't like that.
we're all subject. We all have to do it, and you're right. It's like, don't like it, but gotta. But I think it's sort of like,
Right.
it becomes so complex, and there's so much rope to hang one's self with. It doesn't seem like a very, like, useful way to go about it. We're so we're contributing to society, right? We're like, we're important members of culture and society, you know what I mean? And so we should, uh, we should be able to participate. And, like, I guess I don't even know where we're going with this conversation. I'm just curious as to, like, what do you all think about this idea? I mean, me personally, I think, it could be a lot more efficient, right? We're talking about efficiency and like, minimalism and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole business side of things, and the upside for the business owner can be really great. They can have a lot of upside to it, and so like taking on that role of like taking care of your employees and stuff, is I think is there's a it can become equitable in a certain respect, right? It becomes equitable. We're taking care of the tattoo part, you're taking care of the business part. And then as you mature and you become more business oriented or something like that, you want to start your own business, or like you were talking about, Jason, maybe, like your extra stuff, like extra things you do, and you take that on as other revenue streams and things, and you're able to sort of fold that into to a larger portfolio. And I think that could be great. But like, just getting cash at the end of the day, and it's like, here you go, kid, here's a pocket full of cash,
Yeah.
I think it can lead to I don't know, I I think for me, it was something that I had to really work hard to over overcome that mindset when I was first starting out, and then uh, you know, get get with it, pay the taxes and stuff. I don't like seeing anybody have to go through that. So, um, but I don't know. I mean, maybe there's no standard to hold this industry to. There's nobody to hold the industry to, that sort of a thing. But it could be more of an example, I suppose. You could see it more places. You could see it more. Um, uh,
Well, and I think you're starting to see that
yeah,
with different studios around the world and especially around in the US. You're starting to see people taking tattooing to a whole new economic level when it comes down to professionalism, when it comes down to quality of product, when it comes down to business mindset. You're
Yeah.
starting to see more studio owners like Jesse Smith, right?
that's good.
Guys that are turning around saying, cool, you need health insurance? We've got a group plan. Here's our group plan. If you don't like it, you can get your own.
Right.
But this is like the plan that we all pay into. This is what we get out of it, and it covers all of this stuff. We have dental, we have eye. Oh, you need life insurance? We've got that too. Here's
Mhm.
the life insurance policy. Here's your health insurance card, life
Yeah.
insurance policy. Here's what you're going to be making, which is more than you'll be making at any other studio. You know, it's not all cash under the table, so you can show proof of income. You can take out a loan and a mortgage on a house. You can take out a loan for a car. There's all of these other things that you can get when you show all of that proof of income.
Right.
And we're starting to see more people that are focused on that,
Right.
as opposed to the old school days of, I don't know, you don't even actually work here. I'm a sole owner, sole proprietorship
Right.
of this business. You can work for me, but it's going to be cash under the table. And if anyone asks, you're not an employee. You don't work here. You do not work for me.
Right.
You can take, 50-50 of whatever. And
Yeah.
as long as it's cash, you can keep all your tips, but that's it. It's 50-50 straight down the middle, cash only, whatever. Buy all your
And that's
shit
exactly
too.
how you get artists that don't give a shit about the shop they work at, right there too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, like, people like Russ Abbott. I mean, I'm pretty sure Russ runs his place like Jesse Smith does, and by giving, not giving, but by the artist earning their way in that shop to I think if I'm not mistaken, Russ, do you own a part of the shop? Is that how he does that? Doesn't he?
I couldn't tell
I'm
you.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. There was an episode or something like that I seen to where you it shares is broke up into shares, and just 401k and all this kind of
That
stuff.
makes sense.
It gives it yeah it why would anybody want to work hard for a place that wasn't theirs? Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
So by making the shop everybody's going to work twice as hard to keep it great. I mean, and make it
Yeah.
great. I mean, that's the
In
entire
theory,
point,
in theory,
right? In
you'll
theory,
get there. There may be people that are out there, and you may run into situations where there is a studio owner, but now if you're starting to say you own a share of this studio, so you are a co-owner of this studio. Well, now people have the mindset, or could develop the mindset of, well, I don't like the way this is being done, so I'm not going to do that anymore. And you can't tell me no because I'm a co-owner. So it's not like your word goes. I get a say in this too, and I'm not going to do that.
well, obviously things correctly done would be contracted, particularly, and so on and so
Right.
forth. I mean,
And that's a very,
I would
very like worst case scenario example, but
Mhm.
I could see a couple of different reasons and ways that could not work so well.
Well, in any organization, I mean, there really must be a hierarchy. Sort of,
Truth.
it happens.
sure,
It's something that like emerges, at least. I mean, it would at least emerge. If it's not sort of, uh, if it's not sort of imposed in a certain respect.
there
But
always must be a pyramid of authority. I
right,
mean,
yeah. So, but yeah. So what Jason's saying, like that couldn't, that couldn't stand. That sort of
Yeah.
mutiny. It's mutiny. It's
mutiny.
couldn't work out. Yeah, you couldn't have.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, you couldn't have that sort of thing.
Maroon
Yeah.
the mutineer on the island.
Truth is that you, as the biggest owner, have the most controlling shares, and that
Correct.
And
your amount of
that may
controlling
be
shares never equals less than the whole of your other employees' shares.
right. So the controlling stake would be held by the one person that would kind of
Yes.
dictate the certain rules and stuff. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't quote me on what I think, but I seen some sort of show that Russ Abbott was talking about that, in which way they do something to that note. There was a percentage of like own this so much and this so much, but he still always owned the most controlling shares. I do know that for a fact.
See, I was always taught that if you go into every job like you are already a part of that business, right? Like you are the owner of that studio. Not saying like have that kind of like I'm the boss mentality, but like if you treat it with
You
the
care what
same
happens
respect
to
that the
it.
owner does, then you're going to put out better quality. You're going to do everything that needs to be done. You're going to take more
Sure,
personal responsibility for things.
Hmm.
absolutely,
You're going to grow it as an individual, even if you're not the owner of that place.
absolutely.
So that's kind of the
I
way
think
that I
that's the
always,
entire point of why it's so hard to find um eh, anybody anymore to really put it their all into um working in a shop that's not theirs. That's why there's so many more shops now than ever. Everybody branches out on their own because of that.
Oh,
yeah, now we've got an industry that's oversaturated with different options. And it's like, we have more places to work and not enough people to work at them.
yes.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And some people go that route for a different reason, for whatever reason it may be. Maybe people just don't get along with, maybe they have issues with authority and they just don't like people telling them what the rules are. It's like, cool, you go be by yourself. You go do that, right? The rest of us, can listen to what other people have to say and we can play by the rules. But if you're going to be that way, good. You go do your own thing, please, for the love of God. You go over there, and if you don't want to sweep and mop, go live in a dirt hole. Go work in a dirty place. Like, that's up to you. You know, that has nothing to do with me. I'm willing to come in and sweep and mop every other day. It's not a problem.
Right.
But you get different people with different personality types. And sometimes they turn around and they're like, oh, well, how come you're making so much money and I'm giving you so much of a large percentage of the money that I'm making? It's like, yo, number one,
Why don't you put in
lights
16
gotta
years,
stay
man?
on.
Like,
Yeah,
right.
lights gotta stay on. Water's gotta keep running. Rent's
Mm-hmm.
gotta get paid.
Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
business
Yep.
insurance. Let me tell you how much that costs.
Yep.
However, I will say this, there are certain studio owners out there that will take advantage of their employees in that regard. One of the last studios I worked at, I asked the owner to give me a breakdown of cost. Like, what is my money going to? What are the monthly bills here?
You do it.
Of
Yep.
course not. Of course not. Because when he realized that I was smart enough to say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one bringing in the most money. I'm paying all of your rent every month because I'm the only one here bringing in money.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And not only am I paying all of your bills and all of my bills off of this, I'm the one that's keeping the lights in this place on. I'm the one that's paying the rent in this place. And you won't give me a cost breakdown of how much you pay? Really? And I understand it's an odd request for, someone that's working there and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
this all came about because the guy refused to spend $60 to buy a new coffee table.
I don't think it's an odd request nowadays. It might be an odd request in 1985. I mean, you didn't go to your mentor and be like, "Hey, can I have a breakdown?" And be like, "Get the fuck out of my office." Sure.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
for
here's the thing,
the
right? Our coffee table had broken at the studio. And I was like, yo, listen, I was just out at a thrift shop. I found a great new coffee table for the front of the studio. I'm willing to pick it up. Like, it's going to cost $60. And he's like, yeah, cool, go for it. And I'm like, cool. Are you just going to reimburse me when I get back to the studio? Like, how do you
mm-hmm,
want to do this? And he's like, oh, well,
mm-hmm.
you should really take pride in where you work and, you should be willing to reinvest in the place. And it's like, oh, okay, we're going to play that game.
Huh.
Okay, let's play that game. How much money have I made? Well, we all know that business accounts and personal accounts need to stay separate, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
That's according to, whatever regulations. And I said, how much money have I made the business this year? Okay. And so you're telling me part of that, and this is where I asked him for a cost breakdown. I was like, how much is rent? Because I'm making that for you in a week. How much is the electric bill?
Well,
And it's like,
the pure
you're telling
disrespect
me
that
can't spell.
he didn't even know to tell you when you were making that much money. He's just sad in the first place. Like,
Yeah. I was like, so you're telling me you can't spare 60, the business account can't afford to spend $60 on a new coffee table. Not you. The business account cannot afford to spare $60 to buy a new coffee table out of how much extra money am I bringing in a month?
Mhm.
Where's that money going?
Well, here again, I think we've sort of come back around to this notion of like there's so many shops, right? There's so many options. You have to make a discernment about what's right for you on a personal,
Yeah.
spiritual level, like where you're going to work and where you're going to. And so I think it's rather, it's like you're right, Jason, but I mean at the same time it can get so petty. And so I think it's like,
Yeah.
this, you know, you end up now we have things are different these days. And so, you can get out there and you can really start to like meet people and meet other personalities, meet other sorts
Right.
of you know uh, someone that's
And
gonna someone who aligns more with, with your vision and your priorities as far as like, like what, especially if you're a leader, in the shop, you're making a lot of money, you're being a professional, you're treating it as if you care. Maybe you're even like being a good example for your colleagues, and you're actually helping them raise up their game as well. These are things that like that a very a wise business owner, a wise studio owner would want to recognize, and would want to, they'd want to nurture that. They'd want to like sort of, they'd want to foster that environment. And
You would think
so
so, yeah.
well, I think that's where that's where you like, you have to make those discernments about like, the who you surround yourself with, and
Absolutely.
if you're not, if it's stifling, if you're, if it's not right, you do know, you know it
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Mhm.
know. It's the lies you tell yourself to justify the comfort that you feel, that you will
Yep.
not allow you to overcome this, the shit that you're inside of. So,
Yep.
so you
You're
know it,
absolutely right about that.
and if you,
I've walked away from 2 different shops because it was just a toxic environment.
yeah, maybe some people love the toxic,
I like
maybe it's
chaos,
fair for
but
some, and
chaos doesn't
not
have
for
to be
you.
toxic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can thrive on chaos, but not toxicity.
sure. But yeah, I guess I just, not that I have some prescriptive answer or anything like that. I think, yeah, to each their own, and and if you think you can do a better job, you start your own place, I guess. But, like, again, I think this is the advantage of the saturated market that we're talking about, is that, you may find a new opportunity. That's it. That's, this void, can become the opportunity for you. And it may be very scary to have to strike out anew, like I know I've said it before, like I've left studios before, and then, like so I died, right? It's like, it's like, oh, where did he go? Oh, I think he died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
died
right.
You don't
3
carry, if
times.
you don't have everybody's contact info, like, they call back for you, like, you're dead. And
Yep.
so, it's that's just how they,
funny
that's how
because
that
my
can
first
go.
mentor died.
Yep.
That's how that can go. I think you can easily get like, you will easily see the character of those, it gets revealed through this, it becomes, right? It happens, it
Yeah.
becomes, you get to see the character, and, so, then you'll know absolutely, but you know it inside too. And just like Jason, I think that's what you're pointing at. Like, this person, this was a test you gave them. You probably knew.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you knew he
I
wasn't going
did.
to buy that table. You knew
That's
it.
why I
Like,
said, cool, how do you want to handle this? Do you just want to pay
right.
me back when I get to the
Yeah,
studio,
you already
or?
knew.
Mhm.
Yeah, and and it's like, and so instead of just buying it yourself, and I mean, knowing that he wasn't going to pay you, you let that become a point of contention. And
Yeah, I
maybe
did
Yep.
that too
rightfully
many
so.
times in that place. So
Yeah, maybe rightfully so. But, well, it's led you to where you're at now, which is like getting ready for
very true.
conventions, and being like,
Oh,
being awesome. So,
On that note, though, guys, I do have to get running. I have to go and open the studio. So
yeah, I
thank
have
you
to
very
get
much,
running
everyone,
too.
for
I
having
have
me
an
on
appointment.
today. And I will catch everyone next week.
cool.
Bye.
All right, bye, everybody.
Take care, guys.